God bless you. God bless you. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. It's your guy, Rogers1906, and I'm doing something a little bit different today. I've got the Weekend Express, in which case I'm going to have highlights of this playing throughout the week for you guys, so you can catch snippets as you prepare for earnings, look at crypto, and see where it goes from here. But as always, I have to give God some glory. I'm just thankful that I'm able to be here to provide this information for you today and for the next couple of days, because it is time for me to rest. As I approach November, this 40th year of life, I am just super thrilled that God has given me the opportunity to share the gospel with you guys each and every day, to pray with you, to have endured a storm with you guys, not just through the markets, but through transition, relationships, friendships, and business operations, right? But I thank God for every opportunity, because all of it allows us to, number one, make sure that he gets the glory. A lot of times in this space, as we are navigating through these markets and these treacherous times in our economy, right, we often tend to place the ambition of the hustle as an idol. And I love the fact that my apostle, Dr. Rhonda Pettigrew, she had spoke on this in the book of Leviticus, chapter 26, verses 1 through 10, how those that were in Egypt, those were delivered from Pharaoh, right? They were coming out of Pharaoh's control, but still had a lot of Egypt in them, right? I always say, you could take me out of Memphis, but you can't take the Memphis out of me, right? Because again, those things are embedded in us, and we've become so comfortable, so familiar sometimes, that we forget that God is trying to completely bring us out, to transcend us to the next level. So as you are going into this next level, as you've already been making a lot of money in the markets and crypto and things like that, it is imperative that you just check yourself and not become too cumbersome or overwhelmed with the fact that I need to go look at the chart, or I need to trade, or I need to work on my business, or I need to do this, and not take a moment to go and say, let me spend some time with God. Let me give God some glory. Let me take a break. Let me rest. The rest is necessary. Look, she made some points today, and I want to highlight a few things about this. She said, just because someone is going down doesn't mean that they missed the mark. And right, a lot of times God allows us to go through things so he can get the glory at the end, to see how faithful we could be in our service to him. Leviticus 26, it talks about boundaries and the covenant relationship that we have to have with God, right? We need discipleship. We need to not create other gods before God. We need to make sure that we keep the Sabbath day holy. We need to make sure that we are prioritizing rest, right? She said, before I can bless you with anything, I need to remove anything that takes glory over God, right? That is so important. And how can we see that if we don't take a moment to sit back and just watch? So today, I'm going to give you all the sauce. We're going to look at what we got for the week, and then I'm going to get you guys out of here. Don't plan on going live this week, but you never know. I might pop in there. I didn't go live on Friday. Haven't been live the past 2 Fridays, and there's a purpose behind that. But in the meantime, between time, let's take a look at my schedule so you can kind of see what's going on. So this week, we've got the mentorship Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We're almost done. Wrapping up another live session of the mentorship, guys. I'm always thrilled to share these moments with each and every one of us. And of course, my business information is there. And then we'll be back to our Tuesday nights on the 5th and the 12th. And then we're going to take a break from the mentorship program, and all the replays will be available for you guys at that particular time. Okay, so that being said, join the Ready Society. Fill out our free mentorship program so you can catch up on the replays. We want to see you cook with us, because, look, you belong here. Remember, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready. Now, let's get to the nitty-gritty of things. I did want to talk about some key events next week. We've got the Fed, Jerome Powell, actually will be making an interest rate decision on Wednesday. But ladies and gentlemen, we got some big earnings next week. So I'm going to do some TA on some of these earnings plays for you guys today. So you can go ahead and start taking notes. But before we even get into the earnings, guys, I want to take a look at crypto. Man, we can see right now, looking at coin market cap, Bitcoin is at $113,587.23. And we've had some momentum. I even had a few alerts actually go off today on Bitcoin. I set them actually yesterday evening, and it was at $114,048 on Bitcoin. So right out the gate, I actually want to see this on super charts with you, and then we'll go into the breakdown of what to expect in these markets right now. So right now, I'll tell you that even with this push up, it doesn't matter. Until Bitcoin is above $116,160, I cannot get excited, right? These are all buying opportunities that we have to take advantage of. We have to take advantage of these, right? This is the 4-hour resistance level. I'm actually looking at the daily chart, and we've got bearish Fibonacci's here. If you're looking at Bitcoin on my screen right now, and I mean, truthfully, guys, I mean, it's going to be a journey, but we will get back over 126K. The question just always remains as to when it will happen. Okay. So if we take a quick glance at our overall smaller market cap crypto projects right now, we see Virtuals has been cooking. They were moving yesterday. Casper was moving yesterday. And all of this is just prime, right? And then we look at our larger market cap, and we're finally getting that momentum back on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a little bit on XRP for now. Okay. So we're going to look at all of these larger market caps today. Again, I just wanted you to be aware of what's happening, what we see. But before we do that, of course, there's some news. There's been about $10 billion in crypto deals powered by record lows as Bitcoin frenzy continues, right? So as long as this demand is here with the regulation as it starts to be brought into our society, right? As we get the idea that the rate cut or rate decision may happen, this is all very bullish for crypto. We have a pro-crypto president. Even on Twitter, Dean Crypto Trade says, looking at the max pain in terms of liquidation levels on the monthly chart, a few things stand out. Bitcoin's max pain prices are located from $115,000 all the way down to $106,000, which corresponded with the local price range. This makes sense for those liquidity levels that are untapped for some time now as price ranges. Solana's max pain level for short lies much higher than the one for longs. That has to do with the recent large decline, with most of the big shorts likely still sitting comfortable for much higher, right? It's good to keep in mind with this data that these are complete estimations. If one person opens the same position 10 times, its liquidation cumulative value will also show it as 10 times. That's why you should never trust these posts saying we will liquidate X billion of shorts if the price reaches X level. I totally agree with that. These values are always extremely exaggerated. It's all just estimations, as these liquidations charts don't know which positions have closed already, so it just adds all of them up. The levels itself can be some value as it corresponds roughly with untapped highs and lows, and does look and when the volume has come in. So this is what they're referring to right now with the max pain levels. I found this quite intriguing as we are considering my favorite cryptocurrencies, right? Also, XRP hits a rare 404% liquidation imbalance as bulls continue to take charge. We had a nice push up on XRP on yesterday into today, yesterday being Saturday, October the 25th. Today is October the 26th at the time of this recording. Right now, XRP sitting at $2.62, but they saw a brutal wipeout as shorts lost $4.77 million versus a $1.18 million from longs made in profit, making a rare 404% liquidation for XRP. So the data from the last 24 hours reveals that some surprising imbalances among major cryptocurrencies. XRP traders who bet against the altcoin took a hit almost 5 times bigger than the longs, with a rare 404% short to long wipe ratio. So let's take another look here at Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and Solana. Also, I will look at a few more here because I want to overwhelm you today with information. Okay. So I see I take, what is that? We got to look at that. Right. So I want us to look at what's moving, and I want you to have some record of what's going to take place. So we kind of touched on Bitcoin. We needed above 160,079 cents. And then once we get over $119,540, we got a chance to fly on Bitcoin. Right now, I'm just expecting a little bit of resistance on Bitcoin until we possibly hold over that $114,872. Okay, we're still kind of in an uptrend. We got bullish Fibonacci's with a little bit of resistance here. So if we can get over this $114,047, we may continue to slightly push up and break equilibrium on Bitcoin. All right, let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Real quick, Ethereum USD. We've got to break over this 200 EMA at $4,101.67. We're close to do it. We've got bullish Fibonacci's right now. We broke out of this descending triangle, which is a bullish pattern, indicating many buy signals right now on Ethereum. A lot of support right where we are. We are back above $4,000. Our target on Ethereum is roughly right around $4,258, but we get over the hurdle at 4,301. $4,301 is the key level that we need to see. That happens to be right above our 0.618 Fibonacci. We technically on the daily still have bearish Fibonacci's, but remember, when we have a descending channel or a descending wedge, those are bullish patterns. Ascending triangle or ascending wedge, those are bearish patterns. We'll see those likely on SPY and SPX, right? So until we get to crypto, once we get over this, until we get to stocks, this is what we got to be concerned about. $4,301, and then a big breakout above $4,489 on Ethereum. We want to see it happen. It will happen. The question is when, because again, we've had a big reset take place. We got even buy signals looking at the relative strength index right now on Ethereum. So again, I want you guys to make sure that you are staying alert and paying attention to what's happening with these larger market cap cryptocurrencies, right? XRP right now, we'll take a quick look at it. Also on the daily, we got a nice buy signal here, looking at the relative strength index on XRP. So I hope you have been dollar cost averaging and buying the dip. As always, none of this is financial advice. But as we're looking a little bit deeper in here, we need XRP above $2.71. A break above what 276 is going to kind of get us to a nice push. But the key ranges that we need to see on XRP are between $2.95 and $3.03. If we get through those ranges, guys, I do believe that we could come back for $3.24. But of course, there's going to need to be a catalyst for this. I'm expecting November 12th through November 22nd to push us towards a catalyst for XRP. As we go take one more gander at CryptoPanic.com, I just want you guys to know this is where we go to get good news about some of our favorite crypto projects, right? They said XRP will touch everything analysts weighs in on Ripple's latest advancements. So Ripple has 5 major acquisitions in recent months. Financial strategist Versan Alara weighs in on what this means for the financial markets, XRP's role in them. Okay, so first things first, Ripple recently announced that its acquisition of Hidden Road was complete, with the company now Ripple Prime. This marks an exciting new chapter for Ripple. Okay, so this is one of the 5 major acquisitions by Ripple in the past 2 years, also including an announcement to acquire treasury management system provider GT Treasury on last week, another stablecoin power plant platform REL in August 2025, and the acquisition of Standard Custody in June 2024 and Medico in May 2023. Ripple is gradually consolidating the entire digital asset ecosystem. This, my friends, is extremely bullish for XRP. So as we start to move deeper into this adoption of ISO 20022, understand that 303 range will get broken. We'll get to 324. Guys, I'm looking for XRP to finally get over $3.68. And then the sky will really be the limit, because we'll be in a different type of territory. I like the fact that our weekly chart has bullish Fibonacci's, as you can see here, our zeros all the way up here, and we could possibly expect $4.17 to about $4.35. And yes, in my opinion, this is a good time to buy. All right. Now, I did want to take a quick look at Solana, and this is not going to be the last crypto that I look at, because I saw a few things back on CoinMarketCap that I did want to look at with you guys. Looking at Solana right now, I want to slide back over to the 4-hour time frame. Solana has been holding up very beautifully. We're almost back to that $200 price. I want to see this back above $201, right at that 200 EMA on the 4-hour time frame. But I do think that we might hit a wall of resistance right there at $209. Another great dollar cost averaging opportunity. And we're getting multiple buy signals start to formulate here on Solana as well. I'm actually going to go over here to my fib gauge, my Fibonacci's. I'm going to turn off some exponential moving averages that I have here. And I see right now we're pushing towards that 50. So we need to see $202.89. But right here at the golden ratio, $212.87 is going to be a key test for Solana because we also have a downtrend line and we've got to break that. I don't like the Fibonacci's on this one. They are mostly bearish, but I would like to see Solana back over $237.95. As we look at our relative strength index here, we also had a buy signal come in on Thursday, October the 23rd. And I do believe that this one still is primed to go higher. We're not overbought on the weekly. And looking at the volume tick Rogers trick, which is an indicator created by yours truly, which you can have access to that, of course, by being a member of the Red E Society or having any of my classes. So if you want that, just holler at me. I'll make sure you get a link. But at any rate, I do think that Solana is getting ready to make another move. It's just going to be a little bit slower, a little bit more delayed than some of our larger market cap tickers. Now, I wanted to look at this one here, Overtake. I don't know much about this, but I just saw that it's slithered its way up into the top 10 of crypto. It's sitting around 28 cents right now. And first things first, I see looking at markets, you can buy it on MEXC, Bitmart. I don't see it on Coinbase. I just kind of like, oh, there it is. It's on Coinbase. So again, I like to kind of see where you can get it. Then I want to see, okay, what do they do? What does Overtake do? So we want to hit the about, or we can scroll down to it. It aims to simplify peer-to-peer digital asset trading by replacing manual processing and informal exchanges with structured variable transactions. All right, so it has smart contract-based escrow, on-chain asset verification and trade history, AI-powered market tools, right? Also looking at the community, it has an 87% community sentiment. We talk about what to look for in the long-term investing in the Red E University Mentorship. Right now, I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing on this project. It has a 92% score, nice circulating supply, and a 1 billion supply of take. So it's got quite a lot of upside. So what does the chart tell us on this one? So let's see if we can find out some information about Take with technical analysis. TakeUSD. All right, Overtake is the name of it. So let's get that pulled up. We don't care about market cap when it comes to crypto, and this is fairly new. Right now, Fibonacci's do look slightly bearish on the 10-minute time frame. And since it's so new, I'm expecting it maybe to come down a little bit. Possibly we'll lose that 28 cents. Let's zoom out a little bit more and see what we can get. We have a descending channel. That is a bullish pattern. So even on the pullback, I like it because, guys, descending channels always have a bounce on the bottom to break out to the upside here. And I think this thing will eventually get over 31 cents. It's got quite a lot of resistance right now. Very light on the buy side, catching some support. But Overtake looks quite interesting. Overtake USD, Take USD. And it might actually continue to pull back just a little bit before it pops. I like the fact that it does have a strong community, but I saw it as the number 9 crypto. Also, I want to take a look at Hype, which is actually number 5 here on the crypto side, HYPEUSD. All right, let's take a look at Hyperliquid. We'll look at this one. It's also a limited in where you can buy this one, but it has bullish Fibonacci's here. It's at $47. I believe it's going to come up to about $51. But again, the long-term valuation on this thing is really what we got to pay close attention to. We had a high of around $59 on this one. I think it could get retested if Bitcoin continues to pop, but this is definitely going to be relying on the price action of Bitcoin. All right, so let's migrate over to the stock market side. As previously mentioned, like I told you guys, we got a big week. FOMC decision rate on Wednesday at 2:30. We'll hear from none other than Jerome Powell. So as that happens, of course, we have to keep in mind that the futures are something that we've got to pay close attention to. going into this week. Right now, we've got about a $47,387 Dow, a 68.25 S&P, and a $25,510 NASDAQ. The Russell is still lagging, but pushing very beautifully, and we might get a $3,000 Russell before the end of the year if we continue to rise in this ascending channel. Okay, so VIX right now currently is sitting at about 1860 as of Sunday, October the 26th, which is something we've got to pay close attention to. I always like to just go and just check VIX, even though we're getting an amount from FinViz, and it's telling us right now VIX is at $16.36. That ascending triangle, of course, is a bearish pattern. There's another ascending channel, which is a bearish pattern. I'm expecting VIX to possibly come as low as $16.02, maybe even $15.78 as things start to kind of lighten up. With the interest rates, I'm expecting VIX to go pretty daggone low. All right, the shutdown is not really affecting the market in a bad way at all at this time. But if there is a deal that is made, that could possibly increase the volatility just a little bit. But it's definitely worth paying attention to. Also, just right now, again, today is Sunday, so there is not any momentum. But if we see SPY break above $677.39, we possibly could get a $678.10 SPY or higher before the end of this week. All right, so SPY looks very intriguing right now as well. But again, we've got to be careful. Our high was around 678.49. If we can get over again that 678.49, we might go to 679.22 on SPY. And I also don't want to leave out the Qs, QQQ, and that rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. We're going to continue to squeeze tightly to the upside and maybe break 619 and even go higher to 650 even on QQQ, depending on what happens with some key earnings this week. So I've got my little cheat sheet list of earnings that I wanted to look at with you guys today, starting with none other than Microsoft. Microsoft is currently sitting around $523.61 in an ascending triangle. We previously had a high of around $556.38. This is one that you should have gotten ready with us in the red E, got the signal, and played it with us, because we're going to have an increase in the implied volatility for Microsoft this week. So a couple levels you want to make sure that you watch for. We want to see a break above that 525.29 to push us to about 527.82, or possibly above the premium zone of 531. We might hover over this level as we go into earnings, because we're breaking out right now, and I think that the implied volatility will continue to increase. You could have something a little out of the money with a little bit of time, but we might possibly get new all-time highs with Microsoft. And the reason why I say this is that quantum computing has been in a frenzy right now. Microsoft is going to be a leader in this space, even though they're already pretty dominant with market capitalization and so forth. They're still going to be a front runner, and of course, NVIDIA, all in AI. So I think Microsoft still has a lot more upside potential. We're looking at what you call the Williams percent R right now. We've got a buy signal still present in overbought territory on Microsoft. Even on the monthly here, we're overbought, still predicting more upside momentum here. This is a really good indicator. You guys should definitely try. I explain it thoroughly in the Red E University Mentorship. And I want to say this about Microsoft. Analysts are calling for a $629.26 price target on Microsoft before the end of the year 2025, and $710 by the end of next year. So I'm really bullish on this play. The revenue consensus is cited around the low $74 billion range, with the EPS of $3.65 going into earnings. Okay. Also, same day, Wednesday, you have Meta reporting earnings. Meta, good old Mark Zuckerberg, has been making some really intriguing deals with such as Ray-Ban and expanding fiber optics globally for various types of communication using Meta platforms. Meta has given us multiple buying opportunities for leaps and swings over the past couple of months. It's been getting beat up, actually, but we saw Meta get a lower low of support back on October 6th, and it's edged its way back up to about $738. My prediction is that it gets to about 763 as we get up closer to earnings on Wednesday, even though the Fed will be announcing a rate cut prior to us getting the results of this earnings. It's expected that Meta will have a slight upward EPS revision into the print of earnings. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with them. I have several levels even above my 763.30 target to about 782.72, 791.71, 796.76, or even higher than that, because our all-time high is right almost like $100. I mean $800. Our high was around $796.98. I've said it all year that Meta's going to be over $1,000 before the end of the year. Maybe this is our moment. I'm not sure. I pray that it is, right? Looking at our RSI, we do have a buy signal that just came in on Monday, October the 20th. Looking at our weekly time frame, our daily shows us it came in on October the 17th. So I think that Meta is a buy. I do like calls on it. But again, we need to see what the market gives us at opening bell on Monday, October the 27th. Okay. We do have slightly bearish Fibonacci's on the 15-minute. Of course, the market isn't open. So bearish Fibonacci, I think we can maybe catch some support between 737.72 and maybe 736.63. But all in all, I think Meta will likely do well on earnings. But if it doesn't and we lose that support, expect us to retest the low of about 731 to about 727 on Meta. If Meta loses that 727.64, it's lights out. It's going to bleed a lot longer, but give you another good opportunity to get position for the bounce back. Again, be careful trying to hold this thing through earnings, okay? Also this week on Wednesday, you got Google. All right. If you're in the Red E Society, you got this entire list posted right here in the earnings calendar channel, right? So you can see each of these dates. I went right over to Wednesday, even though we got some really good ones on Tuesday too. I will talk about those, but I want to come back to those and save the best for last. Okay. All right. So moving on, looking at Google right now, we're in a lot of consolidation on Google. We had a high of about 261. If we break that 261.70, know that we're going to keep pushing up on Google and we're going to have some new all-time highs. The fact that we're in this rising wedge and that it's expanding, that is technically a bearish pattern, but we've got a lot of bullish pressure here. I can see Google maybe moving to about 264.10. Now, on the flip side, if we happen to lose 258.20, it's a good opportunity to possibly look at puts, but I think it's going to keep going up because the implied volatility going into earnings on Wednesday. Okay. So again, these earnings are all on Wednesday, and I want you guys to be aware of at least these top three. Okay. I wanted to come out the gate swinging on those. Okay. Next on Thursday, right? I'm going Thursday. I want to talk about Apple, right? Apple has earnings on Thursday. We see an increase of demand of the new iPhone based on what I'm hearing, but we already know we got the same phone over and over again here. So I'm just sitting here chilling, trying to see what Apple Pay is going to do. This used to be one of my favorite tickers to trade, but it looks like it has a lot of resistance right there at 264.43. I looked at this thing in the Red E Society for everybody a couple days ago, and I wanted to see this thing get over 265 to possibly go to 268.33. At this point, I truthfully do believe that you're buying Apple at the top, but I don't want to rule it out to say that they cannot keep pushing. Apple right now has an EPS roughly at around $1.74 with a revenue around $101.38 billion expected for earnings. So I think they're going to beat earnings, but what we have to be concerned about is the guidance, right? Are they going to be manufacturing more phones here in the United States? Has demand truthfully increased? So I'm a little mixed on earnings as far as this one is concerned. I like only trends for this one. So I would like to be out of this before earnings if I decide to trade it. If it loses 262.09, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to come to about 260.23, maybe even a low of 257.41 on Apple. So I want you to be very careful on this one as well. Looking at the daily, we've got bullish candles. We're overbought on looking at the Williams percent R. Our weekly is and monthly both have buy signals for us, like it's going to continue to the upside. And even looking at our relative strength index, we're a little bit overbought on the weekly and the monthly, but we still have multiple buy signals on Apple. Again, earnings are on Thursday afternoon. Analysts currently see Apple as overvalued. It only should have had a targeted price of $255, with some analysts also saying that it could be at $315 a share by next year. Okay, so be careful if you're playing Apple. Again, earnings are on Thursday. Also talking about earnings, right? You've got Amazon coming up this week, same day on Thursday. Again, I'm going right for the heavy hitters. We're in a rising wedge. Again, that is mostly a bearish pattern, but I honestly believe that Amazon may continue to push up. This has been one of the most beat down tickers in the Mag 7 or Mag 10, whatever you'd like to call it. But I do have a $230.69 target on Amazon post earnings. Amazon has a mixed EPS based on what I'm seeing. They want to see the guidance. And of course, right now, it's just a little uncertain because of tariffs, right? But if we can get over that 227.13, we'll squeeze to that 230.69. And I'd like to be out of this one before earnings happens. If I'm not in a November or next July play, I'm a little bit worrisome on this one, right? We want to actually think about the seasonality. November, March, July seem to be really good months for Amazon. There was a buy signal, but I think that it's slightly trying to cool off here as we're looking at the daily. Actually, it's still there. We still got multiple buy signals here. Looking at the Williams percent R, volume tick, Rogers trick also pushing up on the daily. And we got markup on the weekly. So we might have a little push this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, October 27th, 28th, and 29th on Amazon, with also increased implied volatility. So if you're already in, you're ready for the win. We are in a selling position on the weekly RSI, but I want you to stay locked in on the daily or 4 hour. The buy signal just came in. We were overbought. We had a 32 RSI. We want to see RSI break above 49. I think we're going to push up, like I said, on Amazon. So get ready, ladies and gentlemen, with a 227 to 230 price target to the upside on Amazon. Thursday, we have earnings. All right, looking at the next one, Coinbase. Coinbase has earnings on Thursday as well. We've seen Bitcoin hit record highs. We're seeing a lot more adoption on Coinbase. We were talking about Coinbase on the live trading last week. A couple people asked about a play on Coinbase out to December. I think it was my guy Tyrell that asked about coin. And I think, honestly, it may be okay. It may be an okay play. I don't really know what to expect with coin because for the past couple of years when they've reported earnings, we've had 1 quarter down, next quarter up, 1 quarter down, next quarter up. So thinking about the guidance right now, they said crypto beta names estimates swing with volume volatility. And right now, they think that we could possibly be EPS. So the expectations right now are a little bit low. Just so you know, it says there's estimated 1.8 billion and around a 1.15 US dollar EPS, right? So we've got to break that 1.15, and I think they could have a beat. But again, I'm concerned about the guidance. I'm concerned about the crypto adoption here. We can't even get a bill to keep the government open, so I'm pretty sure everything's going to be a little bit delayed when it comes down to Coinbase. But I do think you can run on the implied volatility. We got a lot of buying signals here. I think this is going to come to about 365.45. I had a prior levels that I mapped out back on October the 8th and 9th between 385.43 and 388.35. And our key levels around 384.90. So I wouldn't say it's impossible for us to get there. We're just going to hit a little bit of a struggle right there at 364.45 and 371 on this one. Again, I like what I see, but it could possibly come down a little bit Monday because we all know, hey, this is related to Bitcoin. Our government wants to adopt Bitcoin. This is something that we like, right? But technicals right now kind of point to a little bit of resistance. So catch what you can on this one to the upside when you see it. I'm seeing mostly sideways price action going into Thursday as I look at the volume tick Rogers trick. But I really do like this one. I think it will be very lucrative long term. So if you're 2027, 28 on positions on this, you will get opportunities to dollar cost average. These leaps are going to print on Coinbase. Okay. Also on Thursday, all right, RDDT, Reddit. Now, for a while, they were in talks previously about the TikTok deal. Obviously, they didn't get it. Oracle got that deal, but Reddit is high demand. We just saw the impact that Reddit had with none other than Beyond Meat, the fake meat, right? So Reddit has a extremely high demand. I think it's going to push to about 223.25. And I just noticed here let me just go back to the daily, and I just want to show you that there's a gap right here from 218.34 all the way to about 225.41. And I want you guys to watch this gap closely because I honestly believe before earnings take place, this gap is going to get filled. And I like call option entry on this one right at 215.58. And I think that it's going to fill the gap up right to 225.18. So I'm actually setting these alerts with you guys right now. So when I see the cross up of that 218.34, I know the gap is going to start getting filled. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, it's been very consolidated. A lot of sideways price action on this one. We can see right here a lot of lower highs and higher lows here, and just mapping that out. So we pretty much stay within this range from 192.65 up to about 215.30. But I do like Reddit. We've played it before. I've made some signals publicly and also in the red E on this one. We've got a lot of support at that 191. But again, I think we're going to push up and fill this gap up. We've got a buy signal here on the 4-hour RSI, and the daily is signaling a buy signal. And I think that Monday morning, October the 27th, you got a perfect opportunity to snipe Reddit entry, okay, and play that implied volatility because those premiums are going to go up, and this is going to be a great trade, okay? So watch Reddit closely, multiple buy signals all over the place. Guys, this is one I really like. Even as I'm talking to you now, I'm grabbing the highlighter. And again, this is on my master list of what I am watching. Again, you can do what you want to with this information. All right. Also, on Thursday, after the hours of the bell, you've got Western Digital, WDC. All right, WDC. This is one that, we don't talk about a lot. It doesn't have a huge market cap, but I think that you could make a little bit of money with this one. We've got bullish Fibonacci's. We've been in a descending triangle. Again, bullish pattern. We break out of this descending triangle. I'm looking for another test of 130.54. This one might actually come down before earnings. And if it does come down to about 127.35, I like that for possibly entry on some calls to get back to 132.10 and possibly break up to about 137.25, maybe even 140. So I think that Western Digital shares are going to rise. I think the price targets have increased on this one. They were up 2.9%, but the target is actually, I believe, let's see, they raised it to 120 from $96. We're well above that. So I think Western Digital could actually do quite well. They say here, they have cycling, turning. Consistency will vary by provider. Okay, so they're saying the EPS on this one, let's take a look at it. More. So EPS is around $1.59, and the revenue is around $2.73 billion. I honestly believe Western Digital will be a beat. Thursday's going to be a good day on the market anyway because we'll have whatever the decision that the Fed is going to make impacted and price into the market. So it could be a 25% or a 50% rate cut, and that will help this particular play. All right, now thinking about Thursday morning, these two that I'm going to talk about next, you need to be in on Wednesday if you want to play earnings or before Wednesday. So your window is really Monday and Tuesday for day trading. We're been in a descending triangle on Eli Lilly. We've got bullish Fibonacci's, but I think Eli Lilly is going to possibly come down to about 820.26, trade sideways for most of the week until Thursday morning. If they beat on revenue, we've got higher demand for the GLP-1s and the other drugs that they're introducing. I think Eli Lilly could possibly push up to 864. However, looking at their daily time frame, we still could consolidate. We just got a little bit of ways ahead, a little bit of a ride ahead of us. Eli Lilly to 879.36 if something good happens from their earnings. We had a quick sell-off on Eli Lilly, but again, healthcare is extremely volatile right now. And of course, we already know kind of what's going on with the government shutdown, how some people may actually be using some of that insurance for these GLP-1s, not necessarily to lose weight, but for diabetes, right? So 864 is going to be the key level for Eli Lilly to the upside. If we lose 820.28, Eli Lilly is going to come down to about $805. Okay. I set a lot of alerts with you guys so far. Even looking at our Williams percent R, we've got a buy signal, but it looks like it could possibly pull back or consolidate and go sideways. Okay. So I want you to be very careful with these earnings. Again, you need to be positioned before the closing bell on Wednesday if you decide to play Eli Lilly. Also on Thursday morning, you have MRK Merrick, broke out of the descending channel. They had the pill version of the COVID-19 vaccination. Now this one here on the weekly time frame, it has bearish Fibonacci's. We've got a nice bounce here. I'm expecting a possible reject at 92.32 to push back down to about 73.17. I think that, again, this one is interesting, but I don't think it's going to be as lucrative as, say, as an Eli Lilly or even a Pfizer, right? They beat earnings pretty much every quarter. EPS is around $2.35. They might miss this one with a revenue estimate of $16.97 billion. But Merrick is into a couple of different type of things when it comes to medication development. The monthly does have a buy signal forming, and so does the weekly. It's maintaining a buy signal. So, I mean, it could have more upside, but I think in the meantime, between time, near term, that we chop. This has to be above 95.93 before I'm confident that it's going to go to the upside, okay? Now, let's talk about Wednesday's earnings. You've got Verizon. These are going to be before the bell rings, so you need to be in this on Monday, holding it Monday and Tuesday if you decide to play it. Verizon is at support on the weekly, and communications, when you look at your sector spiders, it actually, sorry, I hit the wrong one here. Take a look at our sector spiders right now, and we'll look at just the year to date. Communication services is up 19.36%. right behind tech. And I think that Verizon is going to be a key leader in that particular sector. Okay. So there is currently a sell signal on the daily, but a buy simulation is forming on Verizon. We are at support. I don't like the Fibonacci's on this one. We also are below my EMAs. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, we're starting to slightly push up. As we get to earnings, I think Verizon may actually squeeze up to $39.71, possibly $40.04 until earnings takes place. After earnings, we could possibly see this thing push anywhere from $42 to $59. Verizon, I mean, it's a good company. I don't use their phone service, but I mean, I know that it's high demand. Looking at the chart patterns right now, it's in an ascending triangle, which is typically a bearish pattern on the weekly. So maybe it will break down a little bit more. And if it does lose it and doesn't go to my upside targets I just gave you, I'm looking for a break below that 37.73 to catch some support around $36 on Verizon. Give you another opportunity to buy for the long term, because again, thinking about what the analysts have said on this one, it has a $47.59 price target and a $56 target by next year. I think it's going to go to $52. All right. Again, you must be positioned before Tuesday closing bell on if you want to play Verizon. You also have Boeing that reports on Wednesday morning as well, breaking out of a descending triangle. This is a nice bullish play. I think Boeing could possibly head anywhere between 222 all the way up to 225.74 and hold between 225.74 up to 227, because this is also in the war sector as well. But we know the descending triangle is a bullish pattern. We've already started to break out. Look for Boeing to possibly go to 230, maybe even as high as 243.11 post earnings. Okay, they're trying to get their stuff back together. Okay, so we remember the issues that Boeing had in the past. Prior all-time high on Boeing, guys, wow, all the way up to about 447.18. And guys, we've been getting consolidated for months here on Boeing since they had their little issues. So as long as we don't drop below 120, which I don't think that's possibly going to happen this time, I think that Boeing is possibly going to fill a gap all the way up to 321.52, possibly over time. May not happen immediately, but guys, I think this is one you would definitely like some exposure to for the longer term investment. Excuse me. All right, so Boeing again has earnings on Wednesday morning. They're expecting this company to actually have a loss, but I think they lowered the EPS to about actually the loss is estimated around $5.16 dollars, but I think they're going to beat that. And then as far as EPS as revenue, they're expected to have 22.6 billion in revenue, but they're expected the EPS to be at a loss. But again, I think they're going to beat that because people are traveling and people are buying planes. It's just, again, the supply chain constraints because of tariffs. That is an issue. Okay. But Boeing, again, looks pretty bullish. Now, you also have that same morning, Caterpillar will be reporting earnings on Wednesday as well. And that is Wednesday before the bell. Caterpillar's had some really nice momentum in the past, but it's in a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. If this thing loses $510.56, it's going to be lights out for Caterpillar. It's going to come down to about 487.92. Again, it's going to pick back up when you think about seasonality, getting closer to summertime again. But we've been maintaining this trend line pretty well to the upside on Caterpillar. But again, I want you guys to look at puts at 516.26 with a target price of about 509 all the way down to 490. And then I want you to look at calls if we can happen to break above 525.04 and then ultimately 531.98 even before earnings, and then a complete breakout to the upside if it goes above 545.40. Okay. Looking at the relative strength index, it does have a sell signal on the 4-hour. The daily's overbought and the weekly is also overbought, and it needs to come down. I think this one's going to come down, and I like puts for earnings on Caterpillar, even though I think the long-term guidance and valuation is bullish. Also, earnings this week, ETSY, Etsy, right? ETSY weekly, very bullish. We're entering that Christmas time. And we know that with the government shutdown, people may be selling products on there, but capital is very limited for those that may not be working. But I think Etsy will possibly do very well. I'm looking for it to break above 75.91 pre-earnings and maybe post-earnings as well. It did have a strong sell come in. It's been in an ascending triangle, which is a bearish pattern here. So if we can continue to push through, I think we could break out and continue to go up to maybe like 95.53 with some time like out to December or January, looking at the next quarter. Earnings, I said, again, are right around the corner. I'm expecting them to beat. Their estimate is around 52 cents. Last quarter is around 48. And they're looking at a revenue of $657.3 million. Okay. So watch Etsy very closely. Again, earnings are scheduled, I believe, Wednesday before opening. So here we go. I could be off. Actually, yeah, Wednesday before opening, you got Etsy reporting, and I don't want you to miss the opportunities based on this technical analysis. This isn't financial advice. Also, you have ADP reporting on Wednesday as well. Automatic data processing has a diverging triangle. Actually, that technically is a bullish pattern, but looking at the weekly, this thing is going to the dirt, possibly coming all the way back down to 278.87 or maybe right around 279. This could possibly be creating some some buying opportunities, but again, I might watch this one from the sidelines and catch it after they report on Wednesday and ride whatever trend that is. Again, ticker symbol is ADP. Looking at EPS, they're looking at $2.44 estimate. I think they're probably going to miss this one with a revenue of $5.14 billion. But this thing has been coming down. It has a lot of strong sell signals. I like puts down to 273.21 with some time. And we could possibly fall to that 200 EMA. 274.83 should be your target, right? But puts look like they're going to cook for ticker symbol ADP. I'm actually making a note on my cheat sheet that I have prepared for myself to do this with you guys today. But ADP is looking quite bearish. Okay. All right. So moving on to the next one, Phillips 66, ticker symbol PSX. All right. So looking at Phillips 66, looks like a nice V-shaped recovery there on the daily. I just kind of noticed that, but it has a rising wedge, which is a bearish pattern. If we can continue to break out of these Fibonacci's at 136.89 up to about 142.49, this one may squeeze into earnings. This could kind of be a caveat to what to expect from our other gas and oil companies. We look year to date, looking at our utilities, they're at 20%, energy at 2.1, industrial 17. So just thinking about utilities wise, and really energy as well. I think Phillips 66 is cool. And the fact that the tax credits for like EVs are decreasing, I think that may have a small catalyst of momentum to kind of push this up before earnings takes place. Our 4-hour looks very consolidated with a breakout to the upside out of the descending channel. And we might retest that high of 137.32. But in the meantime, looking at this candle, 133.42 looks more likely, maybe even as low as 130.02. So Phillips 66 Wednesday before the opening bell, but it's going to give a catalyst of what's going to happen on Friday with companies such as ExxonMobil, 4-hour bullish Fibonacci's, but we're also in a gap that has actually already been filled. We wicked into it back on October the 9th. But I do believe that ExxonMobil possibly could come back to 114.79, catch some support and bounce right back up to where it is now, 115.64, and then 116.89 and possibly 117.43 or higher. As we get into earnings, again, earnings are on Friday. EPS is expected to be $1.82. Last quarter is $1.57. They did miss that. It was a surprise miss. And this one here could be a surprise beat. Who knows, right? Also, we see they have about $86.47 billion in revenue expected. And last quarter, they did actually beat that. So, again, I am curious to see if we can do it again. And ExxonMobil is definitely going to be one I would encourage you guys to watch this Friday. Now, also, you have Chevron CVX on Friday. This one here is right at equilibrium. If it loses 154.57, I want you in puts with a 153 target. If it doesn't and maintains support here at 155 or bounces to the upside, we want to break above 156.15, then 156.63 to continue to push this thing up to about 158.52 on CVX. All right, and then lastly, ABBV, right? This is on Friday as well, Friday's earnings. Now, this one actually is coming back down, I believe. I don't like this current candle. I think it's going to possibly catch some support at 226.84 and kind of consolidate until the earnings takes place on Friday. Just taking a look at prior earnings on this one. They did beat the last quarter on the top and bottom with revenue and EPS. This one here had a low EPS of $1.77. I'm expecting them to beat this one as well. And I'm expecting them to beat the 15.59 billion in revenue. It's in a descending triangle. Again, that is a bullish pattern, but we've got bearish Fibonacci's on the daily. And that is a little bit concerning. We also have bearish Fibonacci's on the on the daily, but I meant 4-hour. It also has a sell signal at the Williams percent R and our RSI is also showing us that it's coming down. So we might have puts going into earnings, and then after earnings, this thing could pick back up some more. Now, let's talk about the ones that I know you really are concerned about: SoFi, PayPal, and United Healthcare. I'm going to cover those three, and then I'm going to let you guys go and have a great rest of your day. All right, so let's start here with SoFi. Earnings are on Tuesday. Again, Tuesday morning before the bell, which means that you have to be positioned in this one on Monday if you're going to swing trade it, and you need to make sure that you have time. This hasn't been in a descending triangle. I've been talking to the Red E Society. I said SoFi is going to go to $30.62 or higher. I had an alert at $29.86. Once we break that, that is the sign. And I think that this could happen before earnings takes place. Once the Fed makes their decision on Wednesday, if they do cut rates, SoFi is going to go much higher. We're going to get a $31 to $35 SoFi. Just looking at the weekly here, we already hit all-time highs at 30.38. But I think that this thing can keep on cooking. It is quite overbought. But guys, we got a lot of markup on SoFi, and I believe that the swings are going to do great. I remember a time where we expected SoFi to hit $20. Well, we're past that now. And I think that SoFi, as long as they continue making these small enhancements with their app, I think it's going to do extremely well, especially if people start borrowing money again. SoFi is going to rip. So remember, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready on this one. Time is going to be your friend, but be cautious. You might want to take a little bit off the table before closing bell on Monday and play with your house money if you decide to, okay? Now, also on Tuesday, you got PayPal. PayPal, I do believe, should be over $70. We've been quite consolidated. We looked like we were going to have a V-shaped recovery, and it's sold off. We're kind of ranging here, and we might not have a big move on this one until like December. But PayPal needs to get over, I say 71.17, and could possibly push to 76.74, maybe $80 on Monday. Again, with the anticipation of not just the rate cut, but also demand and its ability to use cryptocurrency and what they talk about in their earnings report. Just as I'm looking at the EPS, they're expected to have $1.20 EPS, which I do believe they could beat that with a revenue of about $8.24 billion, which is a little bit above what I believe that they're capable of. But I think PayPal still has a pretty interesting demand, and I think that it could be an interesting to watch earnings play. But in the meantime, between time, guys, I just want you to be careful with your shorter term expiration dates. We're right at equilibrium. $70.95 needs to be your upside target. I like entry right around $70 even for calls. For the put side, if we fall below 69.72, your target needs to be 69.24 to the downside, and possibly as low as 68.54 for PayPal. All right. And lastly, United Healthcare. Most of you all are in calls out to January on United Healthcare because you're extremely smart and you're in the Red E Society, following some great analysts. Besides just me, right? Everybody in there is wonderful. So shout out to them, right? But I think United Healthcare may be a little chop suey, right? I think it's going to go sideways. I think we could have a potential beat on EPS, but the simple fact that Medicaid cannot make payments for certain things, and I think that United Healthcare has a small affiliation with some other, government insurance companies, and even with Medicaid, that it may have a miss on its revenue. But I think that we could see a slight push to maybe 368 on Monday, and then maybe a pullback after earnings report, right back to where it is now. We're thinking this will be at 360 to maybe as low as 351.29 post earnings. I do think it will go up in January, but it will be intriguing to see what happens on with earnings on Tuesday morning. But this is one I know that you guys have exposure to, so I wanted to make sure that we took time to look at this one as well. So again, these are the earnings to expect this week. We would love to have you guys come and be a part of our community in the Red E Society. You can do that, ladies and gentlemen, by going over to www.Rogers1906.com. Click join the Red E and use discount code 10 off. We have live trading daily. And as I showed you guys a few minutes ago, we have our mentorship program, which we're doing it live again for the second time. We're remastering each and every one of those mentorship things. And of course, we got free beginner-friendly courses that you can learn from. We got various trading strategies. You don't pay anything to learn in the Red E. We're not charging you for that. Only thing you'll have to pay for besides your membership is if you want a one-on-one call, right? So we want to make sure that we equip you with everything you need to learn and also be great. If you want to come in, all of our signals are in one place, so you can get to them relatively quickly. Member signals as well as analyst signals, right? So they're in here cooking right now. And as always, you don't have to get ready if you stay ready, guys. I'm so proud of you. I'm expecting God to do big things. And remember what I told you guys, we cannot make the stock market our idol. Take your break, rest, and refresh. So if you don't see me on live or anything this week, understand I am fine. I just need a break. So until next time, remember to always keep God first and secure the bag. Peace.
Okay. It's us.